Hello and welcome back to another episode of Diablo to D&D. My name is David, and today we're going over the last couple of abilities that I've created for the Singer Barbarian. This is a very special episode, and I am super excited because this is the last abilities to be created for the first draft of this adaptation. This means all the official stuff is done. Well, created, I should say. There's still going to be balance changes and whatnot as I further refine this. But I'm super excited about this. Yeah, okay, so let's just jump right into this. I am going to go over the subclass in its entirety and talk about the design that went into this. So to start off with, the original version of the Singer was the one that had all of the Warcries. It took up all, I think it's seven Warcries. But when I made some sweeping changes to the Barbarian, giving it that, how did I call it, cohesion, or like mechanical cohesion, philosophical cohesion, something like that, a couple of videos months back, I pulled out most of the Warcries and gave them to the Barbarian as a whole. The only one that I did not pull out was Warcry, which I dropped in at the 14th level ability. Now, the Singer Barbarian is intended to be, the Diablo build is intended to go deep into the Warcry's tree, because you want to have the damage bonuses for Warcry, and that means investing a ton of points into those abilities. And so what I've done with this is taken the kind of flavor of that and said, you are this battlefield commander. You're the person that says, you go here, look out for that thing, do that thing right there. That guided the philosophy of creating the Singer abilities. So, starting off with level 3, you have Commanding Presence and Battlefield Orders. Commanding Presence. When you take the subclass at 3rd level, you gain proficiency in Intimidation and Persuasion. That hasn't changed. I think that was there in the initial draft. The idea is that you are a charisma character. You have the ability to intimidate and to persuade people, because that's what you do. People who are in the military, I'm sure that their commanders were pretty intimidating and or persuasive because they've had the training necessary to do those things. So here at 3rd level, you're kind of on that track to become that military commander. Battlefield Orders. When you take the subclass at 3rd level, whenever you take the attack action or use your speed to move for the first time on your turn, you may instead spend a bonus action and choose a creature that can see or hear you. That creature can use its reaction to make a weapon attack if you chose the attack action, or move up to its speed if you chose to move. This is almost directly pulled from the Battlemaster. The Battlemaster has two maneuvers that I stripped down and stuck in here. Commander's Strike allows you to forego an attack, use a bonus action, and direct one creature that you can see, or that can see or hear you, and make a weapon attack. In this case, because it is a 3rd level ability and does not rely on superiority dice, rely on a resource, I nerfed it so that you give up your entire attack action. And then the second part is the maneuvering attack. It's not exactly the same. Whenever you hit a creature, you can direct a friendly creature to move without provoking attacks of opportunity from the target that you hit with your superior or with your attack. In this case, with the Barbarian ability, it is kind of nerfed. It is kind of buffed. You move up to your speed instead of half your movement, but you do provoke opportunity attacks. So there's kind of that. I mean, this is something that I could tweak. It's not a set in stone, really. Moving up to half your speed, not provoking attacks of opportunity would probably be better, but I don't know about the balance of the whole thing. But that is what you're getting at third level. You're giving up your attack, you're giving up your movement so that you can direct the battlefield a little bit better. At level 6, this is the last ability that I had created and reached out to a friend who's in the military, and he helped name this. So this is Martial Instructor. At 6th level, you can run your allies through brief training regimens to help them use weapons more effectively. If you spend 10 minutes instructing another creature in the use of a simple or martial weapon with which you are proficient, until the end of that creature's next long rest, it treats weapons it wields of that type as +1 weapons. You may change which weapon type this bonus applies to by spending another 10 minutes training the creature. So this is something I'm actually very, very, very happy about. It's not quite the battlefield control that the Singer does, but it does fill in that kind of party play and social kind of interaction that I'm going for with the Singer. This was partially inspired by, or at least has elements pulled from, the Artificer, actually. I was looking at the balance of their infusions, and they have the ability to make +1 weapons, +1 armor, +1 shields. And I thought about doing armor and shields as well, but I ended up deciding just to do weapons to simplify the thing. I thought about doing 1 hour, but I think this one's a bit more like the kind of tips and tricks for using this weapon. And so you're not fully giving them proficiency in that weapon. You're just getting a little bit more. Like, oh, you're stepping too far when you attack this way, or if you hold it this way, or something like that. So you're getting just a little bit more. Now, notice this does not stack with actual bonus weapons, or plus weapons. This does not make a +1 weapon into a +2 weapon, for example. It treats it as a +1 weapon. Now, I'm not entirely sure if that counts as magical or still non-magical. I don't know. But for right now, that's what I'm going for. I mean, 6th level, you should be treating things as if it was magical anyway. I think that's what the monk gets at level 6 as well. But yeah, this last line here that you can change which weapon type this bonus applies to is intended to show that each creature only gets 1 weapon type per long rest. I thought about doing it like, oh, you can use this ability a number of times equal to your charisma modifier or something, but I figured that was a bit too much or a bit too restrictive. I could see it like you can choose a number of creatures equal to your charisma modifier and then spend 10 minutes training all of them, so you only spend 10 minutes, period. But then that got into, you can use this ability only once per long rest, and Now, to note, this does not mean that you can do this, or this does not say that you can do it over a short or long rest. You cannot. You are actually spending energy to do this, to learn this, so this will break a short or long rest. Anybody that has used weapons in any length of time knows that this is not something that you do just to relax. You actually have to put some effort into it, which is one of the reasons why I went with those 10 minutes instead of the 1 hour. All right, at 10th level, you get Thundering Warcries. At 10th level, you can spend a bonus action to make the range of your Howl, Taunt, and Battle Cry 60 feet until the end of the turn, as well as give the creatures you choose for those abilities disadvantage on the saving throw until the end of the turn. In addition, when you use Shout, you can move up to half your speed without provoking opportunity attacks, and each creature you chose can use its reaction to move up to half its speed without provoking opportunity attacks. So this is pulling double duty. The Howl, Taunt, and Battle Cry are your offensive, affecting enemies war cries. And I knew that I wanted to increase the range of those war cries. And so being able to spend a bonus action to like fill your lungs and then push out a lot more energy to make it sound more intimidating and to be able to, hit someone from much farther away, that's kind of the flavor that I'm going for here. Now, range is very nice, but I wanted to give you something a little bit more, and so that's where the disadvantage on the saving throw comes from. You do have to spend a bonus action, which means you don't get the battlefield orders. They are in conflict. You can only do one of those, but I feel that is a balancing thing, because it's like, oh, my enemy, I can either, for example, taunt somebody and pull them away from an ally, or I can direct an ally to leave, and both of those would work. But you do have to choose one of them. Now, for the shout, I had originally had shout as it was just this ability as a 10th level ability. But I then realized, oh, wait, I get all of these, at the first 9 levels, so 10th level, lump them all together, and then spit it out as a single thing. For shout, this is something that I knew that I wanted from the very beginning. Being able to reposition in the first round of combat is so, so helpful. The initial thought that I had is like, you're walking through a forest, and then you see arrows arc from the trees. You shout, bumping your allies' saving throws and AC for that initial bombardment, and then because you are trained, you can say, you go here, you go here, you go here, and get everybody into position before the battle actually starts. And because the movement is unexpected, the enemy's not expecting people to be able to react so quickly to an ambush, then that's where the not provoking opportunity attacks comes from. And voila, you now have a battlefield commander that says, get into position. Warcry at 14th level, I think I've already gone over this one, but this is the damaging ability that the singer has. At 14th level, you've spent so much time shouting over the din of battle, you are able to damage opponents with your cries. As an action, each creature of your choice within 10 feet of you must make a Constitution saving throw, DC 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your charisma modifier. On a fail, a creature takes 3d8 thunder damage, or half as much on a successful one. I think I went over this in the changelog when I made some tweaks to it. I think it was like 48, and then I bumped it down to 3d8. This is the actual Warcry ability from Diablo, and I have considered using Constitution instead of Charisma, or using Constitution and Charisma instead of Charisma and proficiency bonus. But meh. This is just giving you the ability to deal some damage in an area. If you really want to, you can rush into an area and start, shouting at the top of your lungs and damaging people in an area. But for the most part of this class, you're going to be standing kind of in your back line. You're going to be a backline barbarian, which is a very weird statement to say. But this does allow you, if you really need to, or if the people say, oh, that's the commander, rush in and get him, and you get mobbed by a bunch of enemies, you can just blah and deal some serious damage in an area. 3d8 thunder damage is actually not bad. I think I mentioned Thunderclap as not quite an inspiration, but as a direction for what I wanted to do here, or like a point of reference for balance. Thunderclap is only, I think at this level, 3d6 in a 5-foot radius. So because you are using a subclass feature, it's 3d8 and 10 feet. I might bump that up to 3d10, actually. I might bump that up to 3d10 because I want this to feel like you're going to be actually, like you want to use this. I might bump it up to 3d10. Anyway, that is everything. I'm done. I'm done with making these abilities. Everything from here on out is going to be, well, until I start bringing in the other Diablo games, but everything else is going to be just refining. I've got to take a look at Poison Nova and Bone Spirit for the Necromancer, going through and probably removing some of the creatures of your choice kind of thing for some of the spellcasting stuff. Maybe making a few more abilities into spells like Hydra or something for the Sorceress. But by and large, this is it. Now, I will give you kind of a hint, not a hint, but a heads up of things to come. For the next couple of weeks, it is going to be, actually, let's see, it's only 3 weeks, I think. Yeah, it's only 3 weeks until the 2-year anniversary. So what I'm probably going to be doing is just change logs, just doing balancing things up until that point, and then afterwards, I'm going to be. I've wanted to do from the very beginning. I've wanted to do a Let's Build series. So what I'm probably going to do is go through each class individually and say, here's how to build out this subclass. If you're an Amazon, here's how to build a lightning spear Amazon. Here's how to build a poison javelin Amazon. Here's how to build the physical Spirazon, those kinds of things. And talk about the decisions that lead up to what I'm looking for in this class. I am actually playing a Zealot Paladin in a campaign right now, and I am super excited about that one because I'm going to be showing you my current build and then the possibilities for that build. In a couple of different places, I know the Necromancer has two unfinished subclasses, and the Barbarian has one. Those are not official playtest stuff. Once I get some things put together, maybe make them official if I can work something out. But for right now, this is the last official ability that is now done. So I am going to end it here. You can contact me at XenozFan2, that is XenozFan2 on Blue Sky and Reddit. And you can contact the channel directly at Diablo TODND on Blue Sky and YouTube. Thank you much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good whatever.